Hello and welcome to my video series Rarest Items. In this series we will be exploring and highlighting the rarest drops from around the gaming world, starting with a game very near and dear to my heart, Path of Exile.
The innocent were first to die. They approach your world, your raid class. You must take the fight to them.
Before we get into the real meat and potatoes of this video, it's probably best to explain how rarity, crafting and currency work in Path of Exile. In the game, items are classed by 4 types of rarity: normal, magic, rare, and finally unique. With a few exceptions, nearly all of these items, maps and even boss rooms themselves can be enchanted with the currency orbs below. Here's an example. This is a normal quicksilver flask. It makes me run around faster. These orbs here, they'll enchant it. Let's see what happens. Alright, kinda cool I guess. I'm going to use this as a great segue into the first item on our rare list. Rarest Bismuth Flask. Flasks are a really important part in Path of Exile. They do everything from restoring your life and mana, increasing damage, to a ton of crazy other effects. This flask here, for example, makes a lot of stuff explode. For the right build, that is. It basically, indirectly, massively improves your damage and AoE clearance. It's popular because it helps with clear speeds and farming. But why is it so rare? It drops from this guy. Okay, so let's just say this is one of the most difficult bosses in the game. Only certain types of very powerful builds will be able to kill this boss. But surely the flask drops pretty often. Well no, it has a huge 1% drop chance. In Path of Exile, drop chances aren't always an exact science, but I did find a Reddit thread of a player who ran 150 Uber Cyrus fights. He dropped 2 flasks. So the fact that you have to buy or farm the fragments to access this boss, be strong enough to kill it, and be lucky enough to hit the drop, makes Rarest one of the rarest items. If we're doing a rarest items list, and we've just covered a flask, it's only logical what comes next. Mage Blood Heavy Belt. This belt is almost the pinnacle of chase items currently in Path of Exile. Almost seen as a bit of a status symbol, and it's not uncommon to see players flexing it off in global chat. So what makes it so good? As we covered earlier, flasks can be a very potent tool. This belt makes it so you're running utility flasks permanently. The benefit to this is a lot of flasks have a downtime, especially the powerfully crafted ones. They don't refill as fast. With a Mage Blood belt, this isn't a problem. Your high level flasks are on all the time. The best way I've heard it described is that it affords your character a great deal of versatility. You're running elemental flasks and armor? Well, you no longer have to stack that on your skill, skill tree or gear. It's a very powerful item that really juices up a lot of builds. But what makes this belt so rare? I mean, it drops everywhere. You can drop this belt at any point in the game. Unfortunately for me and you, and everybody else wanting to own this bad boy, it's super rare. The game, behind the scenes, splits all loot into rarity categories, which helps with filtering what loot it gives you. It starts at a 5 and ends at a 0, with Mage Blood being one of the handful of items to be in bracket 0. It just means it's like almost impossible for it to drop. It will happen, but probably not for me and you. There is another way of acquiring it through divination cards, but they're really rare too and cost a lot to buy. So with the rarity of the drop and the cards needed to get this belt, plus its desired worth, I mean, a lot of people who drop this belt are probably going to use it and not sell it, makes this one of the rarest items. You'd think maybe up next on this rare list would be some kind of big flaming sword. Not exactly. This next item, its history and what it can or can't do are shrouded in mystery. Ladies and gentlemen, the fishing rod plus the secret quest that goes along with it. So what does this item do? Well, nothing. It is classed as a base class weapon, so you can attack with it. But can you catch fish? We don't know. The developers of Path of Exile seem to have included it as an Easter egg of some sort. It's supposed to be some kind of long-running joke within the company. But players like me and you are still confused to this day. The rod itself isn't that rare, and there's theories that if you wear a Fairgraves tricorn while you're out and about, it'll increase your chances of dropping one. You can also use divination cards to get one. I went to the effort of buying 12 to show you guys. It didn't cost too much, but I did end up buying all the cheap cards off the market. Well, it looks like I got some kind of crazy rod. I'm going to run around with it in maybe some places with water and see if I find anything. But there's still one further mystery to this humble weapon. The extremely rare side mission that goes with it.
Hi, I'm Krillson of Winding Pier fame. For years, people have been asking me to teach them how to fish. Many question whether fishing is even possible in a harsh, unforgiving continent like Rayclast. To become a master fisherman, one thing is for certain. You're going to need a rod, preferably one with good cast speed. So if you happen to see a fishing rod on your travels, then bring it back to me. I'll be here as long as the fish are biting.
So this super rare mission is actually voiced by the game's creator and lead dev, Chris Wilson. To this day, we don't actually know if this quest is completable. The rabbit hole of fishing in Path of Exile goes a long way down, and I actually think it deserves its own video on the subject. But for the sheer obscurity and silliness of fishing, it's going into the list as a rarest item. Anyone with some knowledge of Path of Exile will already know the final item on this list. This one item has to be the rarest drop in all of Path of Exile. A drop every player dreams of getting, but only the tiniest fraction of them will ever get to experience. I'm talking about the Mirror of Calandra. So why is the Mirror of Calandra so good? Aside from its market value, and why is it such a desired item by players? It all has to do with crafting. As there's no gold in the game, players use crafting orbs as currency. In fact, some of the most powerful items and most protective armors are crafted by the game's players. These rare items cost ridiculously high amounts of currency to craft. But once a player has crafted, let's say, the best one-hand sword in the game, he can now charge people to mirror or copy his weapon. To do this, you use a Mirror of Calandra. This item allows you to create an exact copy of another item. These trades and crafts are usually done by very wealthy players, although the majority of players who end up dropping a mirror will end up selling it. They say that players can go a whole lifetime and never drop a Mirror of Calandra, and for that reason, this is the rarest item. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to drop a like and maybe subscribe, and I hope to do a few more videos like this, maybe from different games across different genres. Yeah, thanks for watching. All the best.